Hi you guys, this is Rachel Kirkland here, the Modern Shaman. Thanks for being with me for another YouTube Q&A video of the week. If you're new to the channel, then I am glad you're here, and I would love for you to go to my website, which is themodernshaman.net. There's a ton of wonderful resources and information for you there. If you'd like to learn more about one-on-one sessions, about my teaching program, just about anything that I offer when it comes to this genre of information and knowing and the ascension journey. Also, I will say, please subscribe. I always forget to say that. You think I'd be better at it after doing these YouTube videos forever, but I always forget to say subscribe, click that little bell so that you're notified when I put new videos on here. Some of you old timers that have been with me for years and years have already done that, but if you're new, then I would love to have you continue to be a subscriber. All right, we come up with these video questions every week. They're just sent in by viewers like you. If you'd like to send in your question, go to the website, and at the very end, there's a contact form. On that contact form, you can type in an email and say, this is my question for YouTube. It gets to my assistant, and she puts it in a folder, and then every week I just pull one out. So that's the way that you get these to me if you are interested in participating. And I would encourage you to do so, because these are just really, I want them to be kind of like on the pulse of where everyone's heart is with their growth and their own personal spiritual journey. So that's a great way to stay relevant by what's going on with each of you. I love hearing from you in that way. So all that being said, here's the video question this week. It says, hello, beautiful Rachel. Congrats on launching your business program. Anytime I see emails about your masterclass, I always feel drawn to it, but I'm not as tapped into my gifts as others. I want to tap into my clairs, but I'm still learning. I hope to be able to start a business where I can use my gifts to help people. It's a dream of mine. Just not sure. Where should I start? Can I take your masterclass or should I wait? So yeah, this is the question. You know what, honestly, I hear this all the time. You're not alone with your question, because so many people, and I've been teaching this material for years, before I turned it into a masterclass and an online curriculum program. I was teaching them in seminars, I was touring and teaching them, I was teaching them in weekend workshops. I still teach it in weekend workshops, but right now that's just in Japan. And the rest of that for the US is based on the video curriculum. But the masterclass, when I started teaching it and when people get into this area, the psychic phenomenon, the spiritual gifts, the mystical realms of the sacred intuitive arts and ancient practices, oftentimes it's something they've always wanted to do, but they don't have a sense of confidence in it because there's not a lot of really reliable sources out there to gain the curriculum from. It's gotten better. But when I first started out, in it 10 years ago with this curriculum, not a lot of people were teaching it or languaging it in this way. And it's very small groups, and it was really hard to find a reliable teacher. But this curriculum often draws people that are intuitively gifted and may have felt that way or have felt like, I've wanted to do this for a long time, and there's something in me that's drawn to it, kind of like what you said. Like every time you talk about it, I feel drawn to it. That's your intuitive nudging of like, hey, this is for you. And that's across the board. It's not just with my curriculum. Anytime you feel led to a teacher like that, or led to a particular knowledge group, or led to listen to certain videos on dimensions and quantum mechanics, or led to learn about, energy and auric fields and Reiki and angels and the mystical phenomenon and paranormal. If you're drawn to that, that's like a big green blinking light from spirit saying, this is the direction you should go in. So pay attention to that, no matter where that's leading you. That's my first piece of advice for you. And when you ask that question, like, should I take the class or should I wait? If Spirit is leading you to do something, then follow through with that. Absolutely. Those that sign up for my classes start at the beginning. The curriculum, I can tell you, the way I created it, it's a cumulative curriculum, like all master classes are, where they really start with just the knowledge base. And so everyone, whether you've been in this field forever, and I have had so many people take my workshops and classes and seminars, some of them are already working psychics and they glean so much out of it. Already Reiki practitioners, already or master Reiki practitioners. I mean, or completely starting out, like they've never done it before, they don't even know the language, they just kind of feel drawn to it. And it's benefited each one of those individuals because it's personal. The information and the practices is experiential. So your practice, your gifts, the way that you hear from Spirit, it's going to be real for you. And the practicum is created to do that, to elicit the knowledge base, to let you recognize what your gifts are, to identify them first. At the beginning, that's the foundation. It's just like, what are my gifts? And even as working practitioners, we may know that we're clairvoyant, but we've never really exercised our clairsentience, clairaudience, clairgustiance. We've never really practiced and done all the activities to develop the full capacity of what we're capable of. And so it's always taking your skills to that next level. And it starts with just the knowledge, getting the linguistic or getting that kind of semantic information base, like the dictionary terms of like, what does it mean when I'm empathic? What does it, or what are some techniques to really hone that skill? And that is the second level that the masterclass teaches you, which is really once you have gained the knowledge, it gives you the practicum or the practice. There's activities with everything. I'm huge on activities because you cannot just learn this material by reading about it or by having someone talk to you about it like this. You got to experience it. You've got to know, this is the way I hear when Spirit's speaking to me. They speak inside my head, or they speak outside, or they touch me, or I feel chills. It's different for you than it is for everyone else. And so you have to go through the practicum aspect of that, of really learning yourself, learning how it is that you recognize Spirit speaking to you. Some people, it's all in the dream space. And so they have to recognize and validate their skill level, their way of connecting with Spirit. And we all have a way, all right? You can't come into the class going, well, Spirit doesn't speak to me. Nope, because you are Spirit before your form. You live and breathe, even babies, they live and breathe and communicate beyond linguistics of the human form. Before they even learn how to move and be mobile in this body, they are using their soul, their spirit to communicate, to emanate, to amplify. And so this is our native, original way of communicating. We just have to relearn it and validate that form of communication for ourselves. And so the masterclass curriculum, it builds the knowledge first, and then it validates, how do you hear from Spirit? Whether you're clairsentient, clairaudient, typically we have a dominant psychic sense, and then we build and strengthen that, and then we build and strengthen the others, because once we start developing and opening that psychic realm, inevitably the other gifts and the other clairs start to come in, and we start to recognize them with more recognition and validation and techniques of skill and practice. The more we develop that muscle, just like a bodybuilder, right? There's probably some muscles out there when you go to the gym that you've never done any sort of exercise around. Then you find a particular skill and a particular machine that hones that skill, and suddenly you're like, man, that muscle, I've never even noticed it, but that particular muscle now has got some serious power and punch, because we've been honing the practices and the machine, which is the skill set, right, of utilizing that psychic muscle. And so then it gives you the confidence. So you don't have to have confidence going in to doing psychic development, whether it's my program or somebody else's program. If Spirit's guiding you towards something or someone or a particular teacher, pay attention, follow those breadcrumbs. And when you're there, The practicum is what develops the confidence, because you start doing it and it's real to you. It's not just me. It's not just Rachel telling me this is what you're doing. You're doing the work, and the work shows up for you, and you are having the dreams, you're having the visions, you're feeling the sensations, you're, doing the readings. And so it's real to you. It becomes yours. And that is where we glean the confidence from the actions that we're doing. And so the practicum is set up like that, where I'm guiding you through, and I may be leading a meditation or leading you through a particular practice, but you're the one that has to do it. And then afterwards come back with the knowledge honed from those skills, because that experiential knowledge, nobody else can give to you. That's how you recognize your own intuitive gifts, okay? Your own sacred connections to the non-physical world. So that develops that sense of confidence. You don't have to have it coming in, but we will develop it, no doubt. Because we do so many practice activities. I mean, there's 44 modules, and like every single one of them has practice, 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 practice. So you're just practicing, and every practice activity is cumulative. So it builds on the knowledge that we just did before. And in that schematic fashion, your confidence naturally builds in a strong foundational way, like stair steps. That's the schematic knowledge of like, I know this and I'm capable of doing it. And because of that, I can know this and now I'm capable of doing this. And because I know that, I can know this and now I'm capable of doing it. It's the doing that builds that personal confidence, because it's true for you. And no doubt you will glean that from the class if you do the work. If you sit there and you don't do the practice activities, then what's the point? But really, that is where you gain the confidence. You don't have to have it going in. You don't need to know all about your psychic gifts coming in. Everything is built foundational. And then that final piece is really where we hone your skill, where you start to recognize, hey, I'm really gifted in this one unique way. And this is where it translates into that second program that I just created, the business program, because inevitably what was happening with all of the people that I was training and mentoring is they start practicing, they're doing the work, and it's real to them. And then they recognize like, wow, I am really good at future probabilities. I mean, I just see them. I see the timelines. or I'm really good at past lives. It's like I just recognize it, I see it, I feel it, I know the timeline it's associated with, or I am just really good at healing. I'm so empathic. It's like I can feel the trauma. I am shamanically clearing it. I'm doing these energy melds where it's like I'm feeling what they're feeling. Or I am incredibly skilled at dream space and being able to lucid dream for other people and invite their loved ones into my dream space. You start to recognize what makes you unique, what makes you special. That purpose of why you're drawn to this since you've been a kid, that's a gold nugget right there, telling you there's something in there. And these classes are kind of designed to pull it out and to make you recognize this is your skill. This is what makes you unique. You're able to communicate so clearly with those that have crossed over and be that gatekeeper or that medium that has strong evidential clearing for that family or whatnot. Whatever the skill is, through the process of doing all the practices, it really starts to become clearer and clearer until it's so magnified that you're like, this is me. This is my purpose. This is what I want to do, and this is what I want to present and help people with and bring forward, and this is what I want to offer as my soul offering to the world. And so I kept seeing that happen so often in those that I was training and working through the classes and the seminars and the workshops, that they would naturally come to me afterwards and like, I want to take this and make this an offering to people, because they were already doing the practice activities, which were readings, which were healings, which were clearings, and they're doing these for people. And then people would be so profoundly healed and impacted from their readings and their clearings that they would want to come back. And then it became a service. And a lot of times they didn't start with that intention, but it was clear that by their desire to hone their gifts, their capabilities became really strong, and they were standing in the sovereignty of their own authority and the powers that were inside of them. And so naturally they moved to that second phase, which is why I created that business program, because people were like, and now I need like the website. Now I need the skills because people are coming back, and I was practicing doing the readings with them. And now they want it full time. Or I was doing the healings and they were so transformative. They've told their cousins and their friends and they all want to come, which is a beautiful outpouring of your true gift and an essence of your skill and living out your sacred self. And so all that being said, your skills will hone to that level, and the masterclass gets you there by the very end of like really, again, doing those activities to the point that you will have people that want to follow up. And so if that happens, then that natural course of you stepping into the business program afterwards. And I went kind of back and forth about like, do I make the business program available to anyone or just those that have done the prerequisite of the masterclass? And I decided to do that, the latter, to have there be the prerequisite, because I truly feel like if you have learned the ethics, the morality, the structure of the heart space behind why you're doing what you're doing, then it naturally builds into something that can sustain you. This is the way that spirit always works. It's like when your heart is pure in wanting to help by giving the information and knowledge to others, by helping them make the best decisions they can make for their future with your visions, or helping clear their trauma that they've dealt with, or clear those entities that are stuck to them, or those bad habits, or their health. When you are having a pure heart as a service to using your gifts in that way, there is a natural overflow of abundance where spirit starts to give back to you and send back to you. And the energy is always like that. It's twofold. And so you'll naturally find that through your intensity, if you are sincere in your development through the masterclass, that you'll naturally want to build into sharing that with others, whether that's a formal launch in a business or whether that's just creating some sort of structure and flow for yourself to where you can offer it to others on the side, or whatever it works for you. It naturally flows one from another. And so I wanted that masterclass prerequisite because I feel like it really gets the foundational aspect of the psychic boundaries and the ethics that are created in order for you to have a sustainable, thriving, the longevity to the business, not just something that pops up on the side that doesn't carry your heart, but that can fully sustain you. And this is a beautiful way of having equanimity in flowing out to others and letting spirit flow back to you with energy. And so I guess my piece of advice in that question is just like, start where you're led to start. If spirit is leading you and you are feeling that intuitive nudge every time the masterclass gets brought up, then sign up. I mean, begin where spirit is leading you. And it doesn't have to be my courses. Spirit can be leading you towards so many. There's a million different teachers out there. But the biggest advice I can give you is to pay attention to the intuition of where spirit is leading you. Notice that sincere grab, that sincerity. Look for teachers that have that heart in what they do. Because the knowledge is so minimal compared to the energy behind why people are doing what they're doing. And there's a lot of people out there, but when you connect in the spirit or in the heart, feeling their sincere desire to help you learn, to help you see how gifted you are, to help you develop and see your own glory, your own ability. This is you being you, right? And this is a facilitator and a program that enables you to do that. So I just hope and pray that you find a facilitator that really embodies that for you. That's where I would go, because that's what you need. Not somebody that just has the acumen on their own, but that knows how to bring it out in you, that knows how to validate and see that glory in you and those divine gifts that you embody, because you absolutely do. We all do, but they're all unique to the individual. So I hope that's a blessing to you. And again, all that information, if you want to follow up, is on the website. If you're feeling that intuitive nudging, it's there. It is my service to humanity to share in this way. It was never like where I started, but it's my heart. Like I started having sessions with people and just doing traditional readings, and then I started realizing, like, gosh, I want people to realize they can connect with their grandmothers. They have access to this. It's not just through a medium that you have access. You are connected, because these connections that we have as readers come from connecting to you and your loved ones. They come through that divine connection that you already have, right? That's already present. And so that kind of grew in his desire for me to give people confidence and not to take away their power and say, I have the power, all great and mighty Oz, right? Let me show you how I can read the future. But no, like, look, sweetheart, you have the ability to do this anytime you want, not just through an appointment with somebody else that has, developed this gift. If this is important to you and that relationship with the non-physical is important to you, then you can absolutely develop that gift. And that became my heart, to empower others to realize that they don't need to give their power away, but they can develop that skill themselves to sustain in their own sovereignty and their own divine nature, that we all have that connection. So all that being said, I hope that if you're feeling led to develop your gifts in some way, shape, or form, that you will find the teacher that you were drawn to. Listen to your heart. Listen to your heart. All right. Blessings. I'm going to sign off here. We'll be back here next week with another video.